Jenna, dissatisfied with her husband Earl, falls pregnant after a night of drinking. Shocked at the two-line positive test result, she conjures up a new pie recipe in her head to reflect her unwanted pregnancy. Not ready to tell Earl about the situation quite yet, Jenna is stuck with the reality that her dream to get away from Earl seems a bit further away now. Jenna professes her doubts and late-night fears to her colleagues Dawn and Becky. They console her, stating that despite their own issues, they wouldn't exchange places with her. As Earl enters unexpectedly, they quickly shift the topic to compliment his hair in an attempt to prevent him from learning about Jenna's pregnancy. A confrontation between Jenna and her abusive husband Earl occurs when he comes to visit her at work. He forcefully takes her earnings and accuses her of not listening to him. Despite the tense situation, Jenna responds by sarcastically expressing her day through the creation of her "I hate my husband" pie. A tense dinner between Jenna and Earl further spotlights his controlling nature when he declines her request to enter a bake-off. Next, Jenna's thrown a curveball when she realizes Dr. Mueller, her longtime doctor, has retired and she will now be seeing Dr. Pomatter instead. Jenna's first meeting with her new doctor, Dr. Pomatter, is an awkward one. Jenna is clearly unhappy about her pregnancy and requests him not to celebrate her condition. After their consultation, Jenna offers him one of her homemade pies, which he struggles to accommodate among his other things. Dr. Pomatter confirms Jenna's pregnancy and provides her with information about prenatal vitamins, diet, and pregnancy general do's and don'ts. They both have an uncomfortable conversation about her pregnancy timeline, realizing that it was her abusive husband, Earl, who got her drunk and impregnated her. When she returns late to the diner due to bus delay, her manager scolds her for not having a car. While Jenna continues working at the diner, she receives harsh words from Cal, the manager, for being late again. Her friends, Dawn and Becky, support her but notice she's not feeling well. Jenna also deals with difficult regular customer Old Joe, who insists on everything being just the way he likes it in his pie shop. She also experiences pregnancy-related nausea but tries to keep it a secret. Old Joe visits Jenna's diner, ordering with his familiar exactness that keeps Jenna on her toes. Dawn shares her horoscope and her ingenious 5-minute dating strategy with Jenna, who falls ill due to her pregnancy. Dawn then asks Jenna to do her makeup for her 5-minute date that evening. Jenna agrees to help Dawn with her makeup and bake her beloved, falling in love chocolate mousse pie. Old Joe, a regular customer, figures out Jenna's pregnant and promises to keep it a secret. Suddenly, Earl, Jenna's abusive husband, calls the diner. In the middle of a regularly hectic day at the diner, Jenna has to calmly deal with Earl's call and Dawn's insecurities about her body. When Jenna mentions her plans to participate in the Jonesville Bake-Off, Dawn suggests that if Jenna wins the prize money, she could open up her own pie shop. Jenna starts to fantasize about owning her own pie shop after Dawn's suggestion. Meanwhile, Dawn struggles to gain confidence before her date. After work, Jenna's ride on the bus brings a surprise encounter with Dr. Pomatter. On a bus ride, Jenna coincidentally meets Dr. Pomatter. As they chat, she mentions the Joe's Pie Diner where she works. Intrigued by her passion for making pies, Dr. Pomatter fondly recalls his childhood memories of a local pie diner and a waitress he had a crush on. He later compliments Jenna's marshmallow mermaid pie she had made earlier for him, expressing it to be biblically good. Jenna and Dr. Pomatter continue their conversation during the bus ride. Dr. Pomatter remarks that Jenna reminds him of a waitress he had a crush on, flustering Jenna. Meanwhile, her relationship with her husband, Earl, is clearly strained. Despite her not feeling well, Earl pressures her into sex, praising her attractiveness in her pregnancy and seemingly oblivious to Jenna's disinterest and discomfort. A man named Ogie comes into the diner and insists on being served by Dawn, who had met him on a failed 5-minute date. Despite her attempt to resist dealing with him, she eventually agrees to go talk to him. Dawn feels stalked by Ogie, who is insistent on his feelings for her and proposes to her, emphasizing his determination not to take no for an answer. While Dawn finds Ogie's persistence uncomfortable, he continues to express his feelings through impromptu poetry. Jenna advises Dawn to be more assertive in rebuffing his advances. Both Dawn and Jenna face tension in their relationships. Dawn continues to be pestered by Ogie's romantic advances, eventually snapping in frustration, while Jenna must confront Earl with her own secret, which is a doctor's visit related to an abnormal symptom concerning her pregnancy. Meanwhile, Jenna also senses some unexplained secrecy from Earl. Jenna visits Dr. Pomatter when she notices spotting, worried about her pregnancy. but Dr. Pomatter unequivocally assures Jenna that spotting is nothing more than a normal symptom in early pregnancy, leaving Jenna frustrated with the pointlessness of her trip. An uncomfortable conversation takes place between Jenna and Dr. Pomatter because of his constant niceness. Despite their respective marriages, he suggests they meet outside of the hospital, making Jenna anxious about her unforeseen attraction towards him, which leads to a secret kiss. But she also warns him about her jealousy-prone husband. After sharing a secret kiss, Jenna's life becomes more complicated when Cal, a regular at her diner, observes her smudged lipstick. To get rid of her ongoing tension, Jenna invents 2 new pies, symbolizing her conflicting emotions about this blossoming affair. She also comes across a Dear Elizabeth column of a woman suffering through a similar situation, which makes her reflect upon her own circumstances. While Jenna reads a dramatic Dear Elizabeth column, she navigates an unruly customer and a fraught family dynamic, her child having a public tantrum. Her friends Dawn and Becky try to cheer her up, presenting her with a book about motherhood. Their love and community support contrast strongly with the complacency of her husband Earl. Despite her friends' efforts and Dawn's gift, Jenna struggles with accepting her upcoming motherhood, even considering the idea of selling her baby to escape from Earl. Jenna pens down a letter to her unborn baby, beginning it like an apology. The reality of her feelings further highlights the complicated nature of her circumstances. Jenna, feeling overwhelmed with the impending motherhood, writes a dispirited letter to her unborn baby, expressing her fears, uncertainties, and the stark reality of her world. Just as she was planning to leave Earl and participate in the pie baking contest to win some money, Earl catches her with a suitcase. In a desperate attempt to redirect him, she reveals she's pregnant. Earl accuses her of lying about the contest, and Jenna, increasingly distressed, finally reveals. Earl confronts Jenna about her secret plan, expressing jealousy about the unborn baby. Jenna manipulates the situation, promising she will love Earl more than their future child, leaving him satisfied. However, their interaction worsens Jenna's nausea, and she proceeds with her appointment at Dr. Pomatter's clinic. Nurse Norma greets her for an ultrasound which will show the baby's heartbeat. Dr. Pomatter performs Jenna's first ultrasound with Nurse Norma attending. The confirmation of a healthy baby's heartbeat stirs mixed emotions in Jenna. Dr. Pomatter then apologizes for the inappropriate incident that happened last month, which Jenna has decided to officially ignore. Dr. Pomatter ensures Jenna their relationship will remain professional in the future, attempting to provide the stability he failed to maintain earlier. Jenna, though still emotionally tangled, makes her own demand, asking Dr. Pomatter not to disappear on her without any contact. Their connection continues to deepen amidst their shared realization of the complexity of their situation. Dr. Pomatter sets up Jenna's next appointment, and they agree to meet in a less professional context during his lunch break. Despite their shared emotional entanglement, they manage to maintain their usual cheerfulness. As the scene closes, Jenna continues her diary to the baby about the complexity of her relationship, which was initially driven by physical attraction. Jenna's routine pregnancy checkup is with Dr. Mueller as Dr. Pomatter is away, which surprises her. After reluctantly agreeing to blood work, which would require someone to pick her up post-appointment, she shares her latest pie invention at the restaurant. To her surprise, Dawn reveals she now has a boyfriend. Dawn surprises Jenna and Cal by announcing she's dating Ogie, the persistent, earnest man who frequented the diner and wouldn't leave her alone. Despite the initial misgivings, Dawn finds Ogie's constant attention and spontaneous poems appealing, causing Jenna to reassess her views on love. In a surprising move, Jenna decides to confide in Cal about her pregnancy, only to discover that he already knew. Rather nonchalantly, he assures her that as long as she can work, he doesn't care about her condition. Later, Jenna checks in on Joe, who asks how the baby is doing. Joe teases Jenna about her supposed affair, then orders his usual, some uniquely named dishes, and a slice of Jenna's special strawberry chocolate pie. He expresses his deep appreciation for her pie, likening each flavor to a chapter in a book, asserting it could solve all the world's issues, which embarrasses Jenna. Joe indulges in Jenna's strawberry chocolate pie and pays her a high compliment. Later, Dawn confesses having an affair with a married man to Jenna, causing a heated argument over ethics and loyalty among friends. Having decided she can't continue the affair with Dr. Pomatter, Jenna ends things when he visits her at the pie shop. Later, Cal discloses to Jenna his philosophy on happiness and shows a little of his softer side through an underlying struggle with loneliness. The scene closes with Dawn getting a surprise proposal from an older gentleman in a unique poetic style. After a surprise proposal from Ogie to Becky, they leave with Jenna awaiting her husband, Earl's arrival. Becky confesses her fling with Cal makes her feel worthier. Jenna reassures Becky her body insecurities are baseless. When Earl arrives, he manages an apology for his harsh words. The scene ends with Jenna bemoaning her day off on which she won't see the pie shop's regulars and an interaction with. Jenna's life takes a dark turn with Earl asserting his dominance abusively, making her feel trapped. Her distress distorts her skill into a self-pity pie. Unexpectedly, Dr. Pomatter shows up, saying he took a day off to spend time with her. He admits something he's ignored before, that Jenna is unhappy. Not looking for rescue, she invites him to learn baking pies, and they end the day. As Jenna and Dr. Pomatter bake the lonely Chicago pie together, Jenna opens up about her mother and childhood. She reveals her fear towards motherhood, feeling incapable of taking care of a child. Despite the momentary peace Jenna finds in baking, she ends up confronting Dr. Pomatter about his unexpected presence. Dr. Pomatter explains his relationship status and expresses that he is happy to be with Jenna. The two have a heart-to-heart about Jenna's fears in life, with Jenna acknowledging that she enjoys Dr. Pomatter's company and finds comfort in their conversations. When Dr. Pomatter gifts Jenna a pregnancy-related item, their intimate moment is interrupted by a phone call regarding one of his patients. Dr. Pomatter shows Jenna a sweet gesture, indicating his growing feelings for her. Meanwhile, Dawn and Ogie tie the knot amidst an intimate gathering. The celebratory mood, however, is peppered with Joe's colorful commentary about his past relationships. Joe opens up to Jenna about his failed life decisions, giving her advice she finds confusing. Then Earl, Jenna's abusive husband, interrupts their conversation. He is disappointed with Jenna and handles her roughly, indicating that he has a control over her life. Jenna's secret stash of money is discovered by Earl. Angry and hurt, he confronts her. Jenna lies, saying that the money was saving to buy baby items. She shares her resentment internally for her unborn child, as the money was meant to finance her escape from Earl's control. Jenna meets Dr. Pomatter outside. The latter suggests they might run away together. Their plans are interrupted when Jenna's water breaks. At the hospital, Jenna meets Joe and introduces Dr. Pomatter to Earl. Despite the discomfort, she insists on having maximum amounts of drugs for her delivery. In the midst of Jenna's labor, Earl causes a scene, taking pictures and threatening Jenna. Unexpectedly, Dr. Pomatter's wife, Francine, shows up, praising Jenna as her husband had spoken highly of her. Despite this uncomfortable revelation, Jenna proceeds with her delivery, surrounded by doctors and medical students. After giving birth to a girl named Lulu, Jenna confronts Earl, telling him she doesn't love him and wants a divorce. She threatens him to stay away or face consequences. Exhausted and now a single mother, Jenna is urged to wake up as they must leave due to Earl's refusal to pay. After giving birth, Jenna is welcomed by friends Dawn and Becky, who coo over her daughter, Lulu. The light moment is clouded by the news of Joe's critical condition. After some last goodbyes and admiring Joe's drawing, Jenna is left alone with the nurse before checkout. Jenna hands her baby to Becky and Dawn, thanking them for their support. The doctor tries to reignite their affair, but Jenna firmly breaks it off. She confides in Becky and Dawn about her affair while they admire baby Lulu. The tense conversation ends on a lighter note with a lullaby, comforting both Jenna and little Lulu. Jenna, Becky, and Dawn say a cheerful goodbye to each other as Jenna leaves with her baby Lulu. Jenna, filled with love for her child, sings a heartfelt lullaby, gladdening her mood while also uplifting her friends. Moreover, the lullaby in its sweetness expresses her intent to protect Lulu and fill her life with love and happiness. Brimming with motherly love, Jenna croons a melodious lullaby to baby Lulu. The lyrics, richly flavored with delightful pie references, echo her intentions to give her child a life filled with love and happiness, beautifully capturing her cherished bond with Lulu.